Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, my man Dan's with me. He's got a nice collection of older rackets, some obscure ones that I've never heard or seen before. And, wow, stay tuned.
Hey Harry, I got a match in the morning. I need this thing restrung ASAP. Can you help me out?
Dude, it's 7 o'clock at night.
I know, Harry, but I don't know if I'm going to sleep well without it. I got to have fresh strings for this match.
Have you ever heard of a service called Direct Tennis?
No.
They can actually send out a stringer to your home.
Wow, great.
They can pick it up, string it, and bring it right back within an hour sometimes.
Awesome.
So it's directtennis.online.
Cool, I'll check that out. Thanks, Harry.
Yeah, check it out. Guys, directtennis.online. Check them out. Get your racket strung. All right, my man Dan, are we bringing back the late 70s or are we bringing back the early 80s here?
This is primarily mid-70s.
Mid-70s?
Actually, earlier for some of it. I went back and I was looking at that collage I made when I was about 16. It must have been the mid-70s or so. I was in high school and I had that big pile of magazines I was going to throw away. So I cut out all the cool tennis pictures and put them on a giant board, which I still have. So I went back and looked at my old collage, and I looked for, back in the day, any players that were using a non-wood racket. Of course, Jimmy Connors was famous for using the Wilson T2000. But there were several other players that I didn't remember using a metal racket, namely Rosewall and Laver, who played each other something like 250 times. They were both, I had pictures of both of them with metal rackets. I went and did a little searching around on eBay, and I found the Ken Rosewall racket. This is made by Seamco, and it says seamless. On some of them it said seamless, and some of it says Seamco, but you can see there's no
holes.
Seam. And Harry looked at this and says, wow, I wonder how you string it. I said, I have no idea. It's got a cool little piece in here to stabilize it, and looks like they can slide that up and down. So it was a really nice racket. It hit really well. It was very solid.
Let me take a look at that again. Yeah, no, I like, out of all of these, this is my second favorite. I'm going to show you real quick. Like, you see those strings go in here, right? But it doesn't go out of anywhere. There's no, right? So I'm guessing you put it in and it comes out like this. So you can't pull every string, is my guess.
I don't know how you do that.
Like,
I guess you clamp it down, pull it through the other side.
Yep.
Clamp it down. So
Yep.
I think it's going up and down like this.
Yep. But I don't know if you could pull every string in that case, though.
I see 1, 2, 3. I see 4 knots.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow,
yeah, really
4 knots.
interesting racket.
Oh. Yeah, no, it was stiffer than I thought it was. It may be heavier than most of these too, if not all of these. But this racket, oh, we got some ladies needing a ball. They hit it from like 10 courts down. Oh, Dan gave him the baseball throw.
The baseball throw.
But yeah, like I've never heard or seen this racket before. 4 5/8 M for medium weight. Great stick there.
I actually had the opportunity to hit with Ken Rosewall when I was about the same time, and I don't remember what racket he was using.
Oh.
Got about 10 minutes with me and my doubles partner.
You should have borrowed it from him. You said,
Ken.
can I use your racket?
I don't remember what it was. I was so enthralled. I was working at a tennis camp, and he was the guest of honor. So pretty cool.
Let's talk about. So we brought the T2000 out, which we've tried a lot before, but you found a TX3000, which I've never heard of.
I had never heard of a TX racket, and it hit really nice. It was very solid, less vibration than the T2000, lots of power, great feel, pretty small sweet spot, bigger than the 2000, and it's just a beautiful design. Talk about seamless. It's a little wider, polished.
Yeah, it looks really clean.
I really like this racket. It hit well.
I hit this really well too.
Yeah.
It looks thicker. It is
yeah, it's
thicker,
a little
right?
thicker beam. For
Take a
sure.
look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is
Oh
tiny.
yeah, look at that. There's more power in this thing for sure.
Yeah,
It's going to be
and
stiffer.
stiffness.
And they don't have the indentation,
Yeah.
right? So it's just straight.
Solid. And the upper beam is wider. That space
Yep.
right through here is much wider. So that gives it more stiffness as well. But I'm starting to understand why Connors loved the T2000 so much, because it really holds onto the ball and gives it kind of a slingshot. You know, you have to understand these rackets. You're not going to pick these up and say, "Oh wow, I got to get one of these." You know, it takes a while to understand it, find where it works well, and then it gets interesting.
Yeah, look at the ball. This is the size of a ball. This is the size of look.
Yeah,
Look, right?
spot. Yeah.
It ain't much. You were saying it's
Yeah.
about 4 strings, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
You're
right.
gonna have to hit the 4 strings to get a solid hit out of
Yeah,
it.
you got a sweet spot there and there. Yep. But you know, every picture you see of Connors, he's hitting that ball dead center.
Mm-hmm.
He was so good.
So that's the TX3000. This was my 3rd favorite out of the bunch. I remember Rawlings back in the day from making everything in the 70s. I
Baseball
don't
gloves.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they made tennis rackets too, but I don't remember. I do remember a metal one. I don't remember this one though. The John Nukem special.
You know, I looked at the picture on the poster board and I couldn't tell what racket he was playing with. I saw something red. That's all I could see. So I had to do some homework to understand what this racket was. And I found one actually on eBay, and I just love the all steel neck section here, and they countersink the bolt in there to hold it in. Got a very solid feel. Really nice sweet spot. It comes down from like here all the way down. So you can really get some nice shots off of this. Very heavy, powerful. You're not going to do a lot of big top spin or slice, but you hit straight through that ball and it's going to rip.
Looks like somebody took this to like a mechanic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they kind of welded this part together to hold it in.
Yeah.
And then you brought a great point, is that the sweet spot is definitely lower.
Yeah.
Like I was hitting it a little higher and it was okay, but definitely ball speed and the catapult pocketing effect is going to be down here for sure. You get more solid hits down here.
So not a lot of people, today probably remember John Nukem as much as some of the other players, but he was famous for his handlebar mustache. He was an Australian guy, great accent, wonderful Australian twist serve. They call it back then the Australian twist. Then they start calling it the American twist.
Oh yeah.
But the Aussies kind of started that out. So this is a really cool racket, well made.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know John Nukem from just telecasting, being broadcast in the broadcast booth. Now this was our favorite racket. It's made out of fiberglass, and it's called YFG30. This, I don't know if it can compete with a modern racket, but definitely can compete with some of the 80s or early 80s rackets.
So I was really intrigued with fiberglass. Growing up, I saw one of my high school teammates hitting with a prototype fiberglass racket. And I remember looking at it. I don't remember if I hit with it or not, but thinking maybe it was heavy and mushy. But I'm sort of intrigued by fiberglass, and this is the last one I hit with. And the first ball I hit with this racket, I went, wow. Wow. I mean, the feel off of this thing was just delicious. I told Harry it was like drinking a smoothie with your cheesecake. I mean, it was smooth. It wasn't mushy. It had a great feel, wonderful feel off that sweet spot. And this one really has a giant sweet spot. I mean, almost the whole thing right here.
Yep.
It's really a wonderful
It absorbed
racket.
the ball really well and
Yeah.
shot it out of it. I wonder, this isn't natural. No, it's not natural gut.
Yeah.
I was going to be like,
It's
it
a
had
little
a
loose.
natural gut feel.
Well, it's a little loose, and that probably gives it that bigger sweet spot as well, but it just felt great.
It felt, you know what it felt like? It felt like a wooden racket that was stiff.
Right.
Yeah. And you hit it, it absorbed well, and it shot out of there. So
Back in the day, they would string these things like at 60, 70 pounds.
Mhm.
And, then you couldn't figure out why you had no sweet spot. So I think if they went back, that might be 40 at the most. And these rackets would probably be a little different with a softer string.
But you weren't a man unless you strung it at 80 pounds,
I strung this one pretty tight just because that's what they did back then. You can hear it.
Exactly.
Hard as a rock.
But, I mean, that was the thing of masculinity. You strung it at 90 pounds.
What did Borg do, like 70 or 80 or something
Yeah.
crazy? Yeah.
Yeah. With gut, though, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
But, yeah, thank
Fun
you,
stuff.
Dan.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to go play with this some more.
All right, yeah, so that was our favorite. Is made out of fiberglass. These were all interesting though. I mean, I feel like the heavier the racket on a bunch of these, the thicker the beam, the better they were, at least for me.
Yeah, me too.
So everybody thinking about that T2000 compared, like out of the 5 we have here, that was the most flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And a lot of people tried them because they, Connors was using it and making it look great, and he loved it. And a lot of people went to try to use this, and
no,
it was very, very challenging to learn.
Well, I mean, it was the 70s.
Yeah, and you had to like hit the ball in the middle. I mean, geez, how many of us do that?
Well, the ball's coming slower too.
That's true. That was fun.
Thank you, my man, Dan.
Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.